Ira's eyes snapped open to an uncomfortably familiar sensation. Tiny, needle-sharp teeth tugging at strands of her auburn hair. She groaned, reaching up to swat away the culprit. But her hand met only air as two small, furred bodies scrambled across her pillow with impressive agility. "You are 17 minutes late for the scheduled morning briefing. Human era," came a high-pitched, imperious voice from somewhere near her left ear. She squinted through the dim light of her quarters aboard the Galactic Coalition survey vessel Perseverance. Two pairs of luminous amber eyes stared back at her with an intensity that would have been intimidating if their owners weren't the size of her fist. Hiko and Miro, the Feliner scout cubs assigned to her detail, sat perched on her nightstand with their tails wrapped primly around their haunches. "Briefing," Ira mumbled, rubbing the sleep from her eyes. "What briefing?" "It's 0 dark 100 in ship time." 0500 hours, Hiko corrected, her whiskers twitching with disapproval. The cub's tortoiseshell coat gleamed even in the low light. "We established yesterday that sunrise protocols would commence at this time." "You established that," Ira countered, swinging her legs out of bed. "I was half asleep and said something that apparently sounded like agreement." "Verbal contracts are binding under coalition law," Moreau chimed in, his solid gray fur making him nearly invisible except for those glowing eyes. "Article 7, Section 4, subsection." All right, Ira interrupted, pulling on her uniform jacket. "I'm up. What's so urgent that it couldn't wait until actual morning?" The two cubs exchanged a glance that Ira had learned to recognize as their version of a tactical communication. For creatures barely 6 months out of the den, they possessed a level of coordination that put most military units to shame. The Feliner were renowned throughout the galaxy as the Coalition's premier scouts and intelligence operatives, and even their young showed remarkable aptitude. "The sensor net detected an anomaly in Sector 447, Hiko began, her tail now swishing with barely contained excitement. "Energy signature consistent with a derelict vessel, possibly pre-coalition era." "And you know this how?" Ira asked, pulling up the terminal on her desk. Sure enough, there was the anomaly, flagged and logged in the overnight reports. "Since when do scout cubs have bridge access?" Miro's ears flattened slightly. "We may have expanded our access permissions. In the interest of efficiency." "You hacked the ship's systems," Ira translated, fighting back a smile. "That's a court-martial offense." "Only if we are caught," Hiko pointed out reasonably. "And we brought the information directly to our assigned supervisor." "You," demonstrating proper chain of command. "This shows initiative and loyalty." Ira shook her head, but she was already pulling up the detailed sensor data. This was why she'd been assigned as liaison to the Feliner Cubs despite being one of the youngest human officers in the fleet. Most species found the Cubs' relentless energy and boundary-pushing exhausting. But Ira had grown up with 3 younger siblings and a particularly mischievous border collie. She understood the value of channeling chaos into purpose. The energy signature was unusual, old, but not ancient. The wavelength suggested human technology, but the configuration was all wrong for any known civilian or military design. "This is interesting," she admitted. "But why the urgency? The derelict isn't going anywhere." "The Perseverance's scheduled route will take us out of range in 4 hours, Hiko explained. "Captain Valtesh refuses to deviate from the survey pattern without compelling reason." "We thought." "You thought a human officer requesting investigation of a human vessel would carry more weight," Ira finished. The cubs nodded in unison. She studied the data more closely. Something about the energy signature nagged at her, a half-remembered lecture from the Academy about the early days of human space exploration. Before the Coalition made first contact. Before humanity knew it wasn't alone in the universe. "Computer, cross-reference this signature with the database of lost vessels from the pre-contact era," she commanded. The terminal hummed for a moment before displaying results. Ira's breath caught. "The Tenacity," she whispered. "One of the generation ships. It disappeared 200 years ago." Both cubs' ears perked up, their tails straight as antennas. "A generation ship?" Moreau asked. "Those were the vessels humans used before discovering faster-than-light travel. Colony ships," Ira confirmed, her mind racing. "Designed to travel for centuries between stars." The Tenacity was headed for Proxima Centauri with 15,000 colonists in cryosleep. It went dark 3 years into the voyage. Everyone assumed it was destroyed. But it was not, Hiko said, her voice taking on a reverent quality. It was merely lost. And now it is found. Ira was already pulling up the communication panel. Bridge, this is Lieutenant Chun. I need to speak with Captain Valtesh immediately. We've identified the anomaly in Sector 447. The captain's reptilian face appeared on screen, his crest slightly ruffled from sleep. This had better be good, Lieutenant. Sir, I'm transmitting the analysis now. The derelict is the Tenacity, a human generation ship that's been missing for 2 centuries. Sir, there could be 15,000 people in cryosleep on that vessel. Valtesh's crest flared fully upright. By the founders. Helm, new heading. All hands to stations. Lieutenant Chun, assemble a boarding team. And bring those Feliner cubs of yours. If they're clever enough to find a ghost ship, they've earned the right to explore it. As the connection closed, Ira looked down at Kiko and Miro, who were practically vibrating with excitement. Thank you for the morning briefing, she said solemnly. We told you it was important, Kiko replied, somehow managing to sound smug despite having a face covered in fur. And human Ira? Moreau added, his eyes gleaming. Tomorrow's briefing is scheduled for 0430. We have already updated your calendar. Ira groaned, but she was smiling as she reached down to scratch behind their ears. The galaxy had no idea what it was in for when these two grew up. And heaven help anyone who underestimated them because of their size. After all, it wasn't the biggest species that survived in this vast universe. It was the smartest, the most adaptable, and the ones willing to challenge the impossible. She headed for the armory, the 2 cubs bounding alongside her. As they suited up for the boarding mission, Ira thought about what this discovery meant. 15,000 humans who'd wake to a universe completely different from the one they'd left behind. Do you think they will be afraid? Moreau asked quietly. The sleeping humans? Maybe at first, Ira said, sealing her helmet. But humans are resilient. We adapt. It's what we do best. Like the Feliner, Hiko added, her voice soft through the calm. This is why our peoples work well together. As they boarded the shuttle to the Tenacity, Ira glanced at her small companions. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers beyond imagination. But with allies like these, clever, determined, and utterly unafraid, humanity's future among the stars looked brighter than ever. And if that future required being awakened by tiny teeth at 5 in the morning when history needed to be made, well, that was a small price to pay for friendship that transcended species.